Hello, everyone. Just me right now. I'm going to let people log in because I know we are a few minutes behind. I think our guest is having some difficulties joining. So I'm trying to figure that out now with what may be the issue. But maybe while we wait for that to be figured out, I can take some questions from the audience. Hi, everyone. You know, we have a great guest tonight, but I think we may be having some technical difficulties in regards to her being able to log in, but I haven't got any notice yet about what may be happening. So I'm just going to wait. So I'm going to open it up to questions. So anyone who is logged in through Periscope, and remember, I think Periscope ends on the 31st of this month. So I'm not sure whether they're just going to disappear as an app. They're just going to shut down. If people will be able to go back and look at videos, I assume they might just be non-existent afterwards. So it'll be interesting to see, which is why we have moved over to YouTube Live. So for those of you who are logging in through Periscope, please move over to our YouTube Live. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our live works exactly the same way and will pop up. So, you know, please support us. Please tweet it out, you know, reach out, subscribe. That would be really beneficial to us. Thank you so much. Our goal right now is to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we're very close. I am back in New York in my apartment for those of you who recognize the bugs. So I've been back in New York. I got my first vaccination shot. Yay me. With very minimal side effects. Knock on wood. I am very happy. The only thing is, you know, as you can see, I kind of have these slim arms. My arms really hurt for like 3 days. But, you know, I'm very happy because I wasn't feeling fatigued or anything like that. And I didn't get a huge reaction, which I know other people have. So stay safe out there. Wear your masks. Stay kinky. And, you know, get your vaccinations, you know, still get your tests and still be careful. But I am open to taking any questions right now because our guest right now hasn't been able to join us, and we're trying to figure out what is going on. So feel free. Oh, here we go. All right. So Miss Nikita has joined us. So I am going to bring her on. Hello. I don't think we can hear you. Yes, we can't hear you right now. And there might be a mic setting, but I do recommend just like if you're using a laptop, Nikita, just, you know, the basic laptop function tends to be pretty good. And now you just need to, let's unmute yourself.
Was I unmuted before?
Yes, you were unmuted before, but you just weren't connected. So
you can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. So usually I like to speak to you a little bit before you're on. So I'm just going to get into the little intro. I know we're a little off of my usual, but that's totally okay. So let me put it out there now. Good Good evening, welcome. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is the La Maison de Rouge Monday night weekly live broadcast. I am your host, Lucy Sweetkill, one half of the duo that is La Maison de Rouge. A little bit about who we are. LMDR is dedicated to expanding the BDSM experience by discussing, educating, and informing our audiences about the intersections of kink, wellness, sexuality, spirituality, and social activism. We aim to create a safe space for discussing these topics, as well as providing an avenue for our guests to share their stories and experiences. Thank you again for joining us. Tonight, our guest is an erotic priestess who is known for her intense mind control and power exchange. With a deep sensory kink, her unique approach and attention to detail makes her the POV queen. She comes from a creative background as a professional dancer and a performance artist with a special interest in performance installations. From stage shows, she created Peep Booths, in which she would perform at events, which then moved into her creating a plethora of sensory scenes in large-scale worlds for people to play within at her immersive happenings. She has a training in business, psychoanalysis, hypnosis, and is a certified NLP practitioner. Now, also a cryptocurrency trader and investor, she's fused her two worlds and created cryptokink, where she dominates her subs into funding her trades, and depending on their contributions, they get the privilege to watch her trade live and see how their contributions affect her trades. Please welcome, pronoun she, her, Mistress Nikita Rain. Thank you for joining us, Nikita.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, Australia's internet is always like off the grid, you know, so it's touch and go, but thanks for your patience, and I'm so happy to be here.
No problem. So I know joining us from across the world.
You couldn't get more isolated than here.
Well, thank you for joining us. And, you know, when we have a new guest on our show, our first question is always your origin story. Everyone wants to know, how did you get to become the erotic priestess and femdom you are today?
Well, it's kind of, when I look back at it, it kind of breaks down, you know, you kind of think of it as in, well, I was doing this and then that's how I got into it. But the more you start looking back and talk to people, and you're like, actually, this was a bit of a contributing factor as well. So, you know, I think I was a little bit kinky when I was a kid without realizing that that's what it was, you know. I kind of started sissifying my neighbor when I was 5 years old, you know, so I'd make him wear my frilly underwear and I'd put on his underwear and boss him around and, you know, play all these little games. So there was that. There's definitely something there. Yeah. I'd also be into little strange things like barrier play, like having a sheet between my body and someone else's body, or pretending I didn't exist when I was under there, and or then if we were to get intimate or sexual, it was between a sheet, you know, so it was very it was okay. You know, I grew up in a family that was very sexually oppressive and repressed themselves, and so I as a kid I started to find these little creative loopholes where it was like, I'm not doing anything really. You know, it's like we're not really touching, or you know, like films like, I don't know if you've heard of films like this, as like the 80s, you know. I turned 40 yesterday, so it's a long time ago.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago, but I remember being a little girl watching this movie called Pin, P-I-N, and it was about this family, and they were a strange family, and the father had a practice in a home practice, so where he would see patients, and in his room he had this mannequin, this, you know, to show all the body parts and, you know, organs and things like that, and when he wasn't around, his wife would go into the the office, and she would get erotic with the mannequin, and I was just like, wow, this is cool. I mean, I was a kid, but I was like, yes, this is fun. So I think I took the lead from some influences in films, and loved that kind of like object play and different things like that. But yeah, The Evil Dead, that really got me as well. Like another film when I was a kid, you know, this, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's that heavy, like intense tree rape scene, right? Like, so for me, I recently read up on it because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and they're doing a remake, and there's all this debate about that scene and whether they didn't really include that scene now. They kind of made it into a zombie that rapes her, and to me that's more intense personally. But for me as a kid, it was like, wow, it was like nature and this kind of evil entity, but it was an erotic entity. And, you know, once again, I wasn't to blame. It was the tree that was turning me on, right? So there were these loopholes that I started to like create in my head as to how I could actualize my desire without getting blamed. And, you know, so the little things like that. But yeah, how I actually got into becoming a pro-dom. I mean, I first started out as lifestyle with one of my partners. Yeah, he was a very interesting character, and the space that was created with him, I'd never been with a submissive before him, and so it was very new to me. I always kind of was with people that matched my kind of alpha energy, and he was the first submissive character that I was intimate with and in a relationship with. And yeah, we started to play with, you know, servitude and little tasks and errands and slight, you know, soft bondage, and you know, got my first straitjacket back then, which was fun to play with. And I really loved doing kind of discreet public play with him, like having all these rules, having his eyes meet the floor. He was not allowed to look anyone in the eye when he was talking to them, only me, and just little games like this that I really got off on. Yeah. And then I saw the secretary, and I was like, oh, okay. I like this game. I like it.
A hot film.
Right. And it was just beautiful for me. And yeah, so I, you know, with being a performance artist and a creative, I was always there for anything different and unusual, and exploring my sexuality was always at the forefront because of that oppression. And I didn't agree with it. As I got older, I realized, no, I actually don't agree with this. And I know that's your baggage, and so I want to let go of that I've taken on from you. So I became what some would call promiscuous, but I would just say, you know, an explorer of my body and my sexuality. And to try and get past that, and also get past the side of me that was just sex was okay for men, and so it was about pleasing the men. So I stepped into it in that role and pushed and pushed and pushed myself into uncomfortable territory to make it finally about me as well, you know, not just the other person. And there's a lot of bits like that I suppose led up to things.
So then when was the moment when you kind of turned that into like, wait, this could be a career, this could be something like that? How did that happen?
Well, I suppose when I was running an underground arts warehouse, that sort of, I was in Melbourne at the time, and you know, I was around a lot of kooky characters like myself, and I went to explore this BDSM club, and for me what stood out the most, and I found extremely beautiful, was just the consent and respect when I was approached, when people were conversing with me, I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I go to a bar and I've been groped 5 times before I've hit the bar. Like, you know, here we've got adults actually communicating in a respectful manner. And you know, and when you say, oh, no, thank you, respecting your space. Wow, what the fuck have I walked into? So that was a real turning point for me to go even further and dig into that, and ended up getting some shibari suspension done because I thought it was so beautiful. I was first meant to go to an event and just have some shibari because it was my first time, but I'm a bit of an extremist. So once I got to the event, I was like, and I hadn't met the person who was the rigger before. This was all new, and I was just, don't do this. Don't, whoever's listening, don't do this. Do baby steps. Do baby steps. But I'm a bit of an extremist, so as soon as I got to the event, and no one knew me, so I was kind of a little bit fresh and, you know, a little bit more attention on me than I expected. And as soon as I saw the rig, I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, let's do suspension straight away. Yeah. And I'd never had rope experience before. So here I am, had no idea what I was getting into, in a complete trance state that I've never been in my life, vulnerable as hell, around strangers, not understanding anything of what was going on. And then obviously the drop after that, and just, yeah, it was fucking amazing. I don't think I'd ever do it again, suspension, but it was an interesting experience. Yeah. It really was. But so from all of that, I've been on and off kind of toying with the idea for a while, but because it wasn't so obvious to me that I was a dominant female, because in day-to-day life, in vanilla world, I'm a very fair person. I've always been the one that's mediated, and you know, my idea of pro-dom was still that stereotype of like just mean, aggressive, blah, 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 blah. And I can have moments of that, but it's not my base state. It's not my baseline. And so I just had that assumption. So it wasn't until doing a lot of research, and yeah, so it was like probably 15 years ago in lifestyle that I started to mess around, and then it was probably 2.5 years ago only. So I'm still a baby dom, like I'm still fresh, really. So 2.5 years ago, I was researching before that, and I actually came across Lucy Sweetkill in Viceland episode with Carly Slut-Ever and Pain Pups with you. Yeah. And, you know, because I was still at that point of deciding, like, do I want to do this, and who am I in this space? Like, is it me, and what else can I bring to this? You know, what character, who am I, and will it fit? And it wasn't really until seeing that, that I was just like, I was really moved by that, and it clicked for me. I was like, yes, this vulnerability, this intimacy still exists there. It doesn't have to be just this stereotypical, aggressive, mean mommy, you know, like it can be a very beautiful, soft and connected space that goes very deep. And because I have interest in psychoanalysis and all of those things, that's where, you know, the mind part of it as well, and not just the pain. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going in, I'm doing this, you know. So you were part of the reason. So yeah.
I don't think I knew that when we first met, you know.
I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but yeah, we were out and about and it was loud, so who knows what was what was said there.
But you had met, because when we originally met, you had already known a dom that had been in the scene a really long time.
I've known her from my teen years. You know, we were all very close friends growing up as teens, and then, you know, all went our separate ways. Like, she's a traveler, I'm a traveler, and we kind of first met through her cousin. Her cousin and I were best friends through high school, and so after that we kind of, you know, all went traveling and trying out new things and that sort of thing. And we hadn't actually seen each other for many years. It was probably Sydney, but still many years, until New York when we all met up.
Oh, that's so amazing. How funny.
Yeah,
Like,
right, right.
yeah, had you known that she had become a dom?
Not straight away. Not straight away. I think she'd been doing it for some time because she was living over in Sydney. I was in Melbourne. I was heavy in the performing arts space and putting
Got
on
it.
happenings. So I didn't know at that time, but it started to come up because I don't know how it first came up, but when she opened up about it, myself and another friend were like, questions, 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 questions. And then I know I was going in questions because this has been, something I've been curious about for a while. And I still wasn't ready at that point, It was just like,
Yeah.
I'm still not sure if there's certain things that I could do. But just like when you start off, there's all these kinks that you're like, no, I couldn't do that. No, 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 I won't do that. And then whatever years later, you're like, that's my favorite fucking kink, actually. It's my favorite now. I remember when Mistress Nina invited me in New York to come to her house to do a little session on learning. She had her friend there who's a medical doctor, and do a little session on needle play and sounding and urethral. And I was like, before that point, I was like, no, I'm never going to do this. But because Mistress Nina asked me over, I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I love her. I'm going to come and do whatever you want. And so when I got there, I was like, wow, I really, really like this. So, that was a little shock. But
So how has it been? Kind of like, obviously, I think that's the commonality, right? Especially when you end up in a career or a path that is very unconventional, you definitely have to do the work looking back, right? Going like, how did I get to this point, And so you start seeing those signs, which obviously it seems like you've definitely done that reflection. How is it being at this point now for you, kind of like making that jump, making that move, and really developing this part of yourself, and being in the BDSM world and, a professional dom and all of that? How's that been for you?
At first it was very daunting. Like, my first session, I never got the privilege of learning at a dungeon and being mentored and shown the ropes. They're only in this small town. There's only a couple of dungeons, and I called them up, and they were just not taking any women on. And so I kind of had to trial and error. A lot of research, trial and error, and like my first session was just a fail, an epic fail of all proportions. The client wanted tease and denial and a golden shower. Now, I used to be a stripper, so tease for me, tease and denial is fine. Got that down. Let's go. Oh God! Then we get to the shower and it's ready. It's time. And I'm just unable to pee, and
Be shy.
I stage fright, and I'm got my hand up against the wall, and I'm like thinking, you can do this, just relax your body, you've got this.
I love the eye closing because I think we all do that.
Had to. I was like, I needed everything within me to like just channel and relax. And it's like, and I just could not. It took too long, and I was like, look, sorry, this isn't going to happen today, And then as soon as he left, I was peeing for like 2 hours, of course, every 5 seconds. But you learn little tricks along the way. You learn to do little things to help you out. But yeah, so it was trial and error for me, and I suppose I got to a certain level, I suppose, after the first year that I could on my own. And then I was like, okay, I'm going on a BDSM educational tour. And I found a bunch of educators in New York. And I was like, I'm going to get educated. I need to level up. And so I touched down, and I'm in New York at 6 a.m. and I go straight to Lola Jean and Mistress Shayla's Femdom boot camp, and that was a weekend intensive, and lifelong friends now, amazing girls. And started the education, went to workshop after workshop. Like, I'd go to Lady Euphoria's classes, and then Dominus and Lola Jean's classes, and Mistress Indiana. I just kind of kept going and going, and just really just absorbing as much as I could, so I could get to a better level for myself and for my subs. And that also triggered a lot of the questions about, because I didn't really have a community here to speak to about my journey, and being over there and bonding with the girls and Mistress Nina, Empress Wu, the whole crew there, and meeting yourself. And it was just, when you've got other DOMs and pro-DOMs specifically to speak to, it's amazing the things that start to unfold and to click and register of like, wow, actually, I was doing this back then and that led to this. But when you're on your own, there's only so much that will get triggered,
Yeah.
So that was really an amazing step in the evolution of, Mistress Nikita Rain. And and now we're all been isolated for a while, so that's changed the game in a lot of ways. And but I like distance domination. I really like it. I feel like it's a level of foreplay. That's like the genre that I kind of sip it into. It's like this anticipation, this waiting game. It's almost childlike, It's like holding hands with someone, how exciting that is, So everything else around that is just got so much energy put onto it. So I've got my little cat here trying to interject. But yeah, so I enjoy it. It's a lot more difficult to financially, obviously, as I imagine for most of us who predominantly were doing live sessions. But it's been interesting, and I do like that, bringing in tech with space. Obviously, like I like crypto, I like other tech kind of spaces and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely want to ask about that. But before we go down kind of that route, because I think that's a really interesting route, what would you say, with all this, learning, because you seem like an extremely reflective person, to be able to kind of connect those dots, which is, really amazing. And of course, with your background, it makes sense, right? What would you say is what you've learned about your style now? Like, what is your style, you would say, and what type of subs do you connect with?
I like high protocol. I love high protocol sessions, and I realize that that's come from living in a family where boundaries weren't respected. So for me now, this has given me a really great space, not only to explore my boundaries, but to really assert them. And so I love that. I love having a very high protocol session. And I describe myself as sensual and sadistic. I like contrast. So, I like being very sweet and soft-spoken, and then, you'll get a slap out of nowhere, or, just contrast of senses. Sensory experiences are fun for me, and I think from feedback from a lot of my subs, fun for them, and can you hear this little naughty thing chewing on my shelf? Okay. Chew it on there. I am submissive to these two little girls.
They're the ultimate doms.
Right? Honestly, they dom the fuck out of this place. It's like, you want me to get up? Okay, for you, yes, fine. But sorry, what was your?
Just like your style and what you enjoy and what you connect with your clients.
Yeah, I really enjoy sensory deprivation and chaos as well. So yes, so sensory overload. But I really like to keep verbal communication to a minimum. And look, that's partly to do with my own issues with being heard from, you know, family dynamics, but it's also as well, everyone's chatting all the time out there in the world. Everyone's talking. I really just want to reel you into this kind of, this otherworldly experience, this really otherworldly experience. So there's a lot of silence that I'll start with, and I will barely speak to my sub, and they'll be either blindfolded, but mostly in a sensory deprivation mask, and they sometimes won't see me till the very end. Sometimes they will see me halfway through if I feel they've earned that, and that it will add value in that moment. But I really like to just really get people going in and imagining more than there is, you know. Now that I'm saying that, like, there's little games like this we used to play with theatre and things like that, and it, you know, you imagine, we were at a shopping mall, but because I was blindfolded and being led around, I thought I was next to a bloody spaceship. When the shopping doors opened, just that, and the wind that would hit me that I never noticed before in my life, that there was wind that would hit you when those sliding doors opened. So I felt like, where the hell have they taken me today? Like, there's this spaceship going on. But that's the beauty of your imagination, and that's why I like just that deprivation, is you can really, really trigger the imagination to go anywhere. And yeah, so, you know, in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Are there things that you have tried and discovered, or maybe not even tried, that are your own boundaries, your own limits that you don't want to interact with within this realm?
Yeah. Brats. I'm not into brats. Love you. There's a space for you in this world. There's many doms that love you. I can't do sessions with brats. For me, like I said, I want to create, I put so much effort into creating a scene that's otherworldly. I don't want the tantrums and the battling of it. I want you to just submerge into it and sink into it, you know, and yeah, it doesn't work for me. What other things don't work for me? I won't peg someone unless they are a sub that's in my inner circle. I won't personally put on a strap and peg them anally. You know, we can play, you know, kind of just oral play with my strap, or I will use my fuck machine on them, or I'll do anal play with toys, but I won't strap up and peg unless you're in my inner circle. And that's just something that, I don't know how it evolved. It's just, I just kind of felt like this is a little too personal for me, and you're not loyal to me yet, so I'm not interested in participating. You know, you haven't earned privilege yet. Scat's not my thing. Love Shayla. Love when Shayla talks about it. It's just Shayla. Oh my God, I've never heard someone speak about scat so beautifully. Like this is where I'm like, you almost make me think I want to do it, but I don't. I just love you.
She's like, somehow you've enticed me to like.
It's the way she speaks slowly and sultry about it, and with a smile on her face, and she's just so calm about it. I just love it. I love it. I could listen to her talk about it all night. But it's definitely something I'm not into. I'm not into gaping. And scripts. I won't do scripts. I don't mind if you have an idea and a story, or you know, an idea for a scene, feelings you want to experience, obviously. But I won't do scripts. I'm not in drama class, like, and I have attempted it, and it just seems too fake for me. And when it's fake, I'm either going to laugh, which is always fine. For me, it's fine to laugh, but for some, they get serious about their scripts. It's just very lame. It's lame. You are not a writer. You are not a writer, you know, or not at a level of writing where I'm going to go, wow, that's cool. I'm down for that script. But yeah, usually they're very, very tacky, and I'm just like, oh, saying those words just has pulled me out of it. I'm not in this anymore. Ruined my fun. But yeah, they're the only things at the top of my head I can. It used to be blood and needles and sounding, but now I'm down for all of that. Love that. And it's Mistrix Shade, or is it
Sod.
Sade? Sod.
Yeah.
Mistrix.
Yeah. Mistrix Sod.
Oh my God. Her scenes, her equipment. I'm just like, oh my God, when do we meet? I need to live in that little world of yours just for a little while. It's so stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty, right? Everyone has different styles, different things they pull in, and different, there's just this beautiful uniqueness amongst all the people who, are prodoms. So,
so many shades. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So let's get into this cryptokink. So, I think that is something that is definitely become much more of a, obviously technology is a driver of it. Obviously cryptocurrency is more new form of currency. I think sex work, kink, and BDSM in general stay up with the trends in some kind. There's always something happening and going. So how did this develop for you?
Well, so, anytime that I'm not practicing BDSM or seeing subs, I'm on the charts. I'm trading. I'm in crypto classes. I've been studying on and off cryptocurrency trading for 2 years. So it depends on how busy I get, but I've been more serious about it in the last 5 months now. And I love the charts. I love what Bitcoin is based on, decentralized. The banks decentralize every fucking system that we've been reliant upon. And, give the power back to the people, peer-to-peer. Look at social media, peer-to-peer. We no longer sit at the TV for our information. We can rely on our peers research, the friends of theirs who have done their research to then trust what we're getting. Obviously, there's always some crazy shit that slips through there, but peer-to-peer is the way of the future. So why not financially? Why not with the internet? Why not with everything? We see it how with our socials, any sex worker, it's hit or miss whether we're going to live or die. It's up in the hands of whoever the fuck is getting pressure from whoever at the time and not getting, getting paid off or not getting paid off enough, whether we will exist on socials or not. So, decentralizing the blockchain decentralizes everything, and that's just, for me, makes sense. And for anyone who's ever been an anarchist, living in an alt world, who's for the people, the disenfranchised people, the underprivileged people, everybody who's not at the top. This is our chance. This is our foundation for a lot of things. I'm a big believer in the blockchain and Bitcoin. Yeah. So that's how it started, me as the rebel, and going, yes, this is the best protest you could ever make, is get rid of cash and just get Bitcoin, and no one holds your money, no one charges you fees, and you're fine. And no one decides whether you're good enough to have a bank account or not, That's how it started. So, and then trading and day trading it just kind of evolved from there, because it evolved from there because I was so anti all of this before, financial markets, anything like that. I was an artist. So it was like, that's all just greed and horrible, horrible things. But it's like, money and finances exist. So who do we want it in the hands of? Do we want it in the hands of conscious people, or just psychopaths who are greedy and just fucking destroying the planet? So why not take a share and do good shit with it? And So that's when I started day trading, and day trading's fun, and it got me interested because trading and seeing the charts, you are looking at the market. It's all about mass psychology, and I've always been interested in psychology. So when I understood that it was about mass psychology at the end of the day, I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I wrote it off way too quickly. This is really interesting shit. And so, yeah, I've been studying that. So because it's such a big part of my life, I've been like, these worlds are like, how am I going to merge these worlds? Like, they need to be, because they're both big parts of my life. And I just thought, well, there's Findom, and I don't know, Findom, just straight Findom for me doesn't really work, or it doesn't really, I love getting financial gifts, but I don't know, there's just something missing for me. And then I was just like, cryptokink, they're funding my trades. Maybe they get to watch my trades, see my wealth grow. I don't know, there's something fun for that, learning that for me, and something a little bit different, and just basically being able to integrate those sides of myself.
Yeah. What it also sounds like, with the kind of crypto kink, you're getting people to get involved more in the type of currency that represents your values, right? I think it's, cryptocurrency is scary for a lot of people, right? Because they don't really there's so much that's based on technology. I will say that, obviously I haven't done enough research. Maybe we can have a conversation after this about it. But it's fascinating. It's definitely fascinating, but it is intimidating, right?
No doubt. Just like everything new is intimidating. I mean, when the internet first came out, what?
Yeah.
What? No, we get our mail in the post office. That's, we get our money in cash. We don't use a card. Everything that's new was really hard to jump over, but it's without those things, we would be, God knows what we'd be doing. I have no idea.
Google Maps.
Oh, God, where would we be without Google Maps, with that big fucking thing in our car? Jesus Christ. Can never find it. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's too many drunken nights or the cocaine, I don't know, but never find it. But it's the same thing. But the thing is as well, there are a lot of scammers in the cryptocurrency space, right? There's been a lot of people that have been scammed. There's been a lot of Ponzi schemes and telling you, give us your money and we will mine Bitcoin and you will guarantee you will get paid this, and this every day after this month after we hold it, and then they disappear. And as much as I've tried to help people out that I know that have talked about they're in on these little USI tech and I forget the name of the other ones, but they're crazy scams. But because I'm in the loop with some genuine people who have been educating me just on trading coins, they don't have any bias to buy and invest in this coin. They don't have a bias. It's just about reading the charts, teaching you how to read the charts. So because I'm in a very trusted community, we find out straight away what the new thing or what the new hype is, and we have people that are beyond my capabilities of reading white papers and things like that, but will share and decode what's going on. And, you can try and warn the masses, but when they've been promised something that sounds so delightful, this get rich quick scenario, which trading isn't get rich quick. Investing, is even with Bitcoin. If you held Bitcoin from, 4 or 5 years ago, you'd be doing decent. You'd be doing pretty well. Even just holding it, so there is money to be made, but it's still also with day trading, it's a lot of skills and it's a lot of hard skills to learn, and it's mostly about psychology and being able to have self-control and stick to your rules. But crypto in itself and blockchain in itself is, Ethereum is based around smart contracts, so that's kind of, there's just so much to it, babe. There's just so much to it. I love it to death. But everyone is scared to get on board. One, because it's new, and two, because there have been scammers. You need to do your own research. You just need to do research. You need to research. That's it.
I feel like that is the same advice that we all give with when you are looking for a pro dom. Do your research.
Right.
There are scammers. There's all the fake accounts, the catfish accounts.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I gave money to this girl with an Instagram and she took off. I was like, okay, did she have a website? Did she, you know, because most fake doms won't go ahead and put in the work and the time for a real and pay for the website. So that's base camp one. Secondly, she got any references?
Yeah.
Does she have alliances with other doms that are well known? Is she in any interviews, any courses? Like, there's simple things you can do to research, you know.
Yeah.
Is she active? What is she saying? Is she just talking about taking your money, or is she talking about actually BDSM and kink in general? Is she knowledgeable? But, you know, people get excited, you know.
And then especially online world right now. So how have you been navigating kind of COVID and everything like that? Especially Australia is very locked down, you know, and still pretty locked down. And I'm not sure how available the vaccines are at the moment, but have you just been putting your time and energy to kind of the crypto kink, or how have you been navigating this time?
Yeah, look, we're back to normal now. We can see people. But while that was going on, it was online. I was doing coaching couples. So we'd do Zooms and I'd coach couples while they were actually, you know, playing out kink scenes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they were playing for a while, but they just wanted to kind of level up and have someone kind of direct it. And I love directing scenes and people. I love it. So that's been fun with couples and just one-on-ones as well. And we don't, unfortunately, like Sex Panther and Night Flirt, you can't use with an Australian phone number. So I've just been doing kind of texting just based on, you know, setting up my own sort of thing of, you know, put your deposit through now we can start texting or chatting on the phone, Skyping. So it's just really been online, but the crypto kink's been a major one. Yeah, so what else? I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm also merging into the space of consulting for people or couples who want to kinkify their spaces. So create BDSM play spaces in their bedroom or an actual dungeon. So I'll be consulting with them and, you know, going shopping with them or for them, and international travel for some of them to do purchasing and things like that. So that's fun. That's a new endeavor and something that's outside of a scene, you know. So and I always like seeing people come out of their shells and get a little bit more playful and so for me, it's even when I was a stripper for a year, I kind of documented that and then put on a just come over here then, all right? She's running all over the place. So basically doing that sort of thing. And I was also, I don't know what I was saying. You interrupted me. That's a stupid forget.
That's okay. I do want to ask, like, since you've done obviously some traveling, some like getting your education on when you were here the last time in New York, obviously before the pandemic and everything, have you, and I'm not sure how much you got to play in the United States, have you noticed a difference? And I think a lot of people end up asking this question around like the differences between certain countries, like subs and play in places like Australia versus obviously, you know, like even within the United States, LA, New York, San Francisco, they all kind of have Chicago, you know, Dallas, they all have a different feel amongst, you know, the scenes too.
Yeah, I mean, kink wise, when I first started, it was pegging and goldens in Australia. It was just peg me, give me a golden. It was like a huge thing when I first started. It's definitely it's broadening now. People are getting more kind of intricate, and it's less, you know, I personally like clients that are less just pleasure focused. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to come, and like, you know, like for me, it's just like, oh, yeah, that's great. I'm sure, you know, what a surprise, you want to come, but can we go deeper? Can we go deeper than that? Can we explore some things that are a little bit more in between and can trigger some different kind of feelings and sensations and emotions? You know, for me, that's the equivalent to like meeting someone and then just having rough sex and disappearing. Do you know what I mean? It's just, there's no lead up, there's no tease, there's no nothing. And but over in the States, because I was in LA and New York seeing clients there, and over there was more sissification, I found, and that's really where I got into my murder scenes that I love.
Explain.
I just like, I love breath play and blood chokes and just like dimly lit, like I'm going to attack you. I love a lot. I watch a lot of true crime and like Dexter as well. So I kind of like set up these little scenes where it's like, get him, and there's something childlike in me that is just, I love it, absolutely love it. Like, I'm gonna kill you now, you know, just bound to a chair, and now I'm gonna put a plastic bag over your head and, you know, straddle you and make out with you through the bag, and, you know, just, I don't know, just this kind of, do you want to breathe or do you want me to kiss you kind of thing. It's like I love those little things, little bits of culture. Yeah.
That's very fun. I love that, like murder feel, psychopath scenes.
Yes,
definitely,
yes.
you know, definitely the psychopath scenes.
Totally love it. Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to open it up to questions from the audience. So for those of you who are watching, please, you know, put in your questions. I will pop them on the screen and ask Nikita, as long as they're respectful and relevant to this conversation. Oh, here's a good one. Perhaps Mistress Nikita could elaborate on the title she uses for herself, erotic priestess. Is there a particular religious or spiritual discipline involved, or, you know, you can answer it however you like.
Yeah, it's my religion that I've created.
Yeah. I think being an erotic priestess, someone who loves the sensuality, the tease, the play, you know, and feeling that divinity within yourself, right?
Absolutely.
That power.
Actually, and it was inspired by an outfit, to be honest. Now that I think about it, an outfit that I got from Berlin. It was, oh my God, it's amazing. It's my favorite. Actually, I have photos. I think the photos you guys have is that outfit from Berlin, and I was just with that very priestess pope-like headpiece. I was just like, yes, I'm an erotic priestess. Let's go. Love it.
I love it. I mean, that makes complete sense. That photo definitely gives that vibe off there. Very, very much.
And also because I love doing confession sessions, like it just sort of automatically, before I got that outfit, actually, my sessions because I enjoy psychoanalysis and having my own therapy, so I'm always probing in sessions. Like there's always that sort of, let's go deeper, I want to know some things. There's a lot of silence, but when I do talk, it's about going in like that. And so the confession sessions and the priestess, it's like, yes, come to me and confess your sins, kind of thing as well.
Confess your kinky desires to be toyed with. Yeah. It's fun to have religious themed, spiritual themed scenes as well.
Ritual, like the ritual I love the ritual. I'm not religious myself, but I love the ritual around religion. There's so many beautiful rituals. Yeah.
Someone has asked, favorite BDSM scene for your travel, Miss Nikita? Maybe, huh? Murder scene.
Yeah, murder scene.
Cool.
Murder
We have this other, what is one piece of advice you would give your younger Dom self just starting out?
Allow yourself to laugh in session, and allow yourself to choose and be selective. You know, like when you're a young Dom, people can smell it from a mile away by the words you use and don't use, and you know, the hoops you make them jump or don't make them jump. So there's a lot of people out there that will try and say, oh, a real mistress will do this or a real Dom will do that. No, you decide what you do and don't do. So be selective. I'm now very selective with who I see, not just who I see by how they approach me, but also what kink they want at the time, where my energy is at that time. Like I'm quite rebellious, and perhaps this isn't the best thing for myself financially, but my finances will be the last priority. My first priority will be someone wants kink X today. Do I feel that I'm in a space to do that right now? I'm not. So either we can postpone till I am, or you can find somebody else. And I never used to do that. I'd be like, I've got a client, let's go, get into it, da-da-da. But no, just take your time and stick to your boundaries.
Yeah. That's really great. That's really great advice. Someone asked for a clarification. Hey, from Paris, what's a confession session exactly? What kind of things the subs say in general?
Well, of course, I cannot tell you what I say in confession. It's confession. You go up in flames if I tell you. No, but a confession session can happen at any time. Someone can request a confession session, or someone can just request any kind of session, and I'll always throw confession in there somewhere. Usually when they're kind of bound and kind of in a space that's very compromising, and I'll just basically dig into their story. I want to dig into their story. I want to know things that they are holding secret. I want to know things that they are holding shame around. I want to know about the things that they wish for or want to do that they are too afraid to speak out loud about, you know, just things like that.
I really relate to that. I really love like pulling information. My subs have a tendency to be like, I don't know how all of a sudden I just told you everything, and they're just like, I don't know how it happened, but I just told you everything. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
That's all part of the scene that you've set that creates that space, allows for that space for people to feel comfortable. Like, I wish that people that saw therapists also saw DOMs, because I think hand in hand, they're two sides of the coin, but they also would work well together. You know, I mean, you don't have to go and get flogged to be seeing a Dom. You can do whatever. There's so many in-betweens that,
we have a great question. Do you play with women, and how does that change the dynamic in your play?
I do play with women, not as often as I would like to. I am in a small city, which I call a big country town. That's my base, Perth. it's funny because obviously the ratio to men to women, I've had women one-on-one is rare, which I would like a lot more of. Usually it'll be a couple or a sugar daddy, sugar baby that will come to me or something like that. I'm usually a lot gentler with the female. I just am. It's very erotic, it's very playful, but I'm still not at a point where I have met a female sub who wants any intensive stuff, which I would be willing to go there because that would also bring me to a new place. And I would learn a lot from that too. But I'm not willing to go there, obviously, unless the sub herself is ready and wanting. Usually the female subs that I've encountered have been new and fresh to the space, so I'll always take it easy. But inherently, I am always a little bit softer, so I would like to experience women who have the tolerance for a higher, pain threshold or, just more intensive things, and that would be an interesting exploration for me.
Yeah. Women tend to have a higher pain tolerance.
No doubt. No doubt. Yes.
This is going to be our last question, which at this was great. What do you find to be the most rewarding aspect of being a dom for you?
I mean, I love being a secret keeper. Like I love that. But I also just really come back to what it's given me in feeling the next level of sexual liberation for myself and to be able to pass that on for others. I love it. Like, I love empowering women. And, when I was a stripper, I did a workshop for women, and these women had never been naked before, and they literally made a pact to themselves before the class saying, we're not going to get naked. And literally when they walked through the door, I said, okay, get naked. That was the first thing they had to do. And they were like, ah. And once I got them to look at themselves in the mirror, walk around, look at each other, and I said, all right, put on your clothes. Now we can focus on stripping and learning how to strip. It's like, get over the shit that it is leading up. Now you've done that already. Now we can focus, But afterwards, they loved it. They were like, oh, my God, I can't believe you got us to do that. And it's moments like that where I can share that kind of share those things with women, empowering women in their sexuality and stuff. That for me is really important. But I just remembered one thing regarding what I would say or advise. And I've just forgotten what it is. Never mind. Let's move on.
No,
I remembered it while I was talking, and I talked myself past it. But yeah.
Well, so thank you so much, Nikita. For those of you watching, please look down below. We've been scrolling your website, your AVN, your OnlyFans, your Twitter, your Instagram. So, to reach out to Nikita, please follow one of those and go through the right avenues, of course. And is there anything before we end, Nikita, that you want to promote or let people kind of know? Any travel plans, all of that? Now that things are starting to get a little more normal,
Yeah. Well, basically on my AVN Stars and OnlyFans, there's only a couple of things on there, but I've got a lot of stuff that I'm about to roll out, a lot of content that I'll roll out soon on there. Also, apart from obviously the cryptokink, which not many people know about till now, there's basically a distance interactive kink play that I've got now. My fuck machine has an app which can be controlled by anyone I give permissions to around the world. So basically now I'm able to invite someone to join our live session with my submissive, and they get to control, under my supervision of course, the fuck machine and get to play. So I love that distance, present, live, not live kind of peeping space. So yeah, there's that as well. So
That's awesome.
I am touring to Surfers Paradise, which is on the Gold Coast in Australia, at the end of April. So there's not many spaces left, but that's all the dates are up on my website. But yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, if you look below, if you would like to support our weekly broadcasts, please join our Patreon. We have memberships of many different fees that are, very accessible and offer really amazing rewards for those of you. Subs, doms, couples, it's kind of a mix for anyone who wants to learn more about kink and BDSM, plus support what we do here at La Maison de Rouge. I want to thank our wonderful guest tonight, who is, speaking from across the world, of joining us. So thank you, Mistress Nikita, for joining us and having this wonderful conversation. And thank you for everyone out there who joined in tonight. And we all look forward to seeing you all next week. We may take a break next week. There's like this weird thing going on. So I'm just going to put that out there. We're making some switches. So we may take a little break next week, but we might not. We have something possibly interesting planned.
Well, for having me, honestly, to once come from watching you on the screen and then meeting you and then being invited here. It's really been an honor. Yeah, it's been beautiful. Thank you.
That's awesome. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.